So one of the most popular book series that I've never read, but I actually have two of the books, is the Harry Potter series. And as I think about it and I see the movies and I look on my Amazon Prime and I see that I can access that through the service. Okay, hold on a second, let me start over. One of the most popular book series that I've actually never read is the Harry Potter series. And it's not so much that I haven't wanted to read it, because I just haven't really jumped into it like I probably should, because so many people have so much pleasure from the Harry Potter series, not only the books, but also the movies, and probably more so the movies now, because unfortunately people don't read books the way that they used to and the way that they should. Again, that's very unfortunate. But I started thinking about the Harry Potter series, and I actually have two of the Harry Potter books. And as it turns out, I have the first one, which I've had in my collection for a very long time. My brother actually bought me this book years ago, and like a dummy, of course, I've never read it. But I have this one, and I'm told that this is the first one in the Harry Potter series, the Sorcerers, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. So you can tell how much I haven't really paid enough attention to it. It's actually in really good condition right there, as you can kind of see there. So I've had that book for a long time, and I've kept it in pretty good shape. So I got this one, and I'm seriously thinking about that I'm going to give it a try here. I'm finishing a nonfiction book right now that I'm reading about a local murder mystery that happened in the area near where I'm from, or should say where I live right now is probably a better way of saying it. So I'm reading that one right now, and I'm probably about 3/4 of the way through it. And so I probably will wrap it up pretty quick here. It's actually a pretty quick read. So I'm thinking about maybe jumping into some Harry Potter. Now here's the issue. I've got the first one right there, but the other one that I have in my collection is the last one. Yeah, see that? Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. So the interesting story about this particular book is when this book came out years ago, I was walking in one of those big box stores, and everywhere you went, you probably couldn't walk more than about 6 feet if you were anywhere near the registers and there wasn't a display case with this dictionary-sized book right there. And I kept seeing it and seeing it and seeing it, and I thought, I got that first Harry Potter book, but I don't have any of the other ones. And I thought, everybody's like buying this book, and people were literally like, I wouldn't say they were trampling over each other like they did for the Cabbage Patch Kid back in the mid-'80s or early 80s, whenever it was. But people were still picking this one up pretty aggressively and going after it. And I thought, I'm going to go ahead and buy it. Impulse shopping sometimes gets us all. So I decided I'm going to go ahead and buy it. So I did pick it up. I can't remember how much I paid for it. Let's see what it says there. It's $35. I'm not sure if that's what I paid for it. Might have been on sale or something like that. But I did actually end up buying this book. Never read it, but I did buy it. I kept it, and as you can see, I've kept it in fairly good condition here. You can sit there and see there that it's in pretty good shape. So I kept it, and I always thought, one of these days I'm actually going to read the Harry Potter books, because they do seem very, very interesting, even though it's not really as much my cup of tea as it is for a lot of people. But I really am thinking more and more that I'm going to read the Harry Potter series. And part of the reason I want to read the series is I keep seeing the movies, and they keep popping these movies up in front of me, these Harry Potter movies in front of me, and I'm like, man, I really want to watch the movies. And I've had people that I've known who are suggesting, man, you really got to see these Harry Potter movies. They are good. They are the truth. They are the real deal. So you need to see these Harry Potter movies. And I'm like, yeah, I see where you're coming from, but I'm like, man, I'm one of those people that if I know that the book is out there, I really would prefer to read the book first. And most of the times for me, reading the book first is better than watching the movie and then coming back and reading the book. The only time that I think that that really worked for me to watch the movie first, not that I did it by choice, but to watch the movie first and then read the book, was a situation where I didn't know the book existed until long after I had seen the movie, actually a documentary, multiple times. And that was the Hoop Dreams documentary of the late 80s, and or maybe it might have been early 90s, whatever it was. And I watched that documentary and loved that documentary like a lot of people. It was a critically acclaimed documentary about two youth high school, or actually probably middle school and then high school basketball players who grew up in Chicago and had life basically affect them in different ways. And it kind of chronicles their journeys through, largely through high school, before they both went on to the college level and then eventually life after college. And I watched the movie and just absolutely loved Hoop Dreams. It's pretty difficult not to like it. It's very long, but it's very good, very thorough, very well edited, very good. But I watched it so many times. I don't know how many times I watched it. And then I discovered this book, that there was a Hoop Dreams book that was out there. And I thought, well, if the book came after the movie, I don't know, don't quote me on that. It might not be that way. But if the book came after the movie, then I thought, well, maybe there's not going to be that much in there that really isn't covered in the movie. I was wrong. The book is actually very thorough and actually adds things and kind of adds context to things that weren't in the movie. And I don't know if I would have liked the movie. I take that back. I don't think I would have liked the movie any less if I had read the book before I watched the movie. But reading the book after watching the movie was actually kind of cool. It was like bonus coverage of a great documentary. And so it was really great. Again, I don't think it would have impacted me adversely the other way if I'd seen it in the opposite order, read the book, and then saw the movie. But I say all that to say that I still would prefer to read the book first before watching the movies. So if I'm ever going to watch the Harry Potter movies, then I got to get started on these two books. So I think I'm going to go ahead and dive into Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone and check that out. That'll probably be one of my next books that I'll read and see how it goes. And, you know, if I get into it, if I like it, again, it's not typically the kind of thing that I would read. Doesn't mean there's anything wrong with it. Obviously, J.K. Rowling has done really well and has brought a lot of pleasure to a lot of people with the books that were followed up by, of course, the great films. So I think I'm going to give it a try. Since I got the two books, I got the bookend books, so to speak, in the first one and in the last one. So I always thought that was really interesting that I had those two books, the first one and the last one. So we'll see. I'm going to start off with the first one and see how it goes. And I got a good feeling about it, though. I've got a pretty good vibe that once I read that first one, I'll be able to get into it, and eventually I'll read the rest of the books in the Harry Potter series. So just wanted to leave that little story because I do have those two books, and I always thought that was interesting to have the first book and the last book in a series, even though I've never read them. But I've heard so much about how good the books are and how great the movies are as well, or how great the books are and how great the movies are. So looking forward to checking it out, and maybe I'll do a book review at some point after I've had a chance to read Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.